show. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. What are you drinking tonight?
Well, it's pizza night at our house. So, gotta have some red wine with my pizza.
Well, sure.
This is the
That's,
pre-pizza wine. Yeah.
that's what I've got as well.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. I don't have pizza. We did Taco Bell.
Oh, nice.
We're all the sorrier for it on this end. So how have the creative juices been flowing?
It's been interesting. It's been good. I will say that the pandemic kind of changed my creative juices and the rhythm I had going, but I've maintained my schedule of, writing every morning and doing drawing every morning and then the afternoons and the weekends. So it's been good. It's been good.
Nice. All right. Well, so I want to start with Star Beasts, which
Uh-huh.
is now that it's coming to fruition as a graphic novel, but was that what
Yes.
did you intend it to be that to begin with?
Well, it's funny. When Allison, Lassie, and I started making it like 3 years ago, we were aiming just to have, one issue done for Planet Comic Con. Like we gave ourselves a year to get an issue done, and that was the goal. But I told her, like, kind of out the gate, I was like, if I'm going to write a comic book, I'm going to write it as a whole graphic novel because I just need to think the storyline all the way through.
Sure.
And I had the time to do it.
Right.
So I think always in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is going to be a graphic novel one day, even though we were taking it like one issue at a time.
Right.
So that's kind of how it started. Yeah.
All right. So the graphic novel, so the graphic novel is going to it's still the story that you had mapped out and everything is still the same way.
Yeah.
You didn't change anything to make it a graphic novel.
No, it pretty much stayed the same all the way through. Yeah. And then there were some bits, like as I rewrote it, I ended up rewriting it like 10 times,
Right.
in the years as we were, trying to sell it and stuff, tweaking it here and there. So some things changed along the way, but pretty much the bones of the original thing I wrote in about 6 months is still the same.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's the elevator pitch? What is Star Beasts?
Star Beasts is kind of like Star Trek meets Zootopia. So it's animals in space, protecting Earth and all of its creatures, including humans. And it involves a lot of pets. So there's pets aboard the Star Beast ship. And that's kind of what got Lassie and I excited about it. We brainstormed a lot of ideas. When we decided we were going to make a comic together, we just started throwing ideas out of like what we would both be interested in making, and the idea of like your pet being off in space saving the universe was just an idea that stuck.
So, good idea.
Yeah.
So then you write Allison Lassiter. Does she write it all too, or is it pencil or brighter?
Well, we divided it up as like we're co-creators.
Okay.
So when we started off, we sat down with that initial idea and then started world building together. So we sat down and brainstormed the world together, and then bargained for what animals would get to be on the Condor on the ship. Like I was like, I have to have a goldfish because as a kid, I only had a goldfish as a pet for most of my life.
Gotta represent.
A goldfish in space was like, this is gonna be great.
Nice.
She was like, I have to have an iguana. So we figured out kind of the crew together, and then I went off and did the writing while she did concept art.
Okay.
And so, yeah, but now we're in an interesting phase where, she's doing the real inks and, the lettering and moving into the final stages before printing. And so sometimes she'll be like, this dialogue I don't think fits with the scene anymore. And she'll suggest something. And I'll be like, that's great. I'll use that. Or I'll be like, no, let's tweak it and do this. So we're doing a lot of going back and forth now. So it's fun.
No, the back and forth is, that I've limited like experience with comics so far. But I've thoroughly enjoyed that tweaking of, I'll look at some panels.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then that can change. Yeah. That back and forth is great. What, so you did, what you had the free comic book day one, or was that just the?
Well, we did a teaser.
The teaser, okay.
Yeah, we first thing we did was a teaser
Okay.
because we were still working towards. That was the first thing we had at Planet Comic Con. It was like a 12-page issue that we literally gave out for free.
Yeah.
To people.
I have it. So, and I knew it was free. So that's okay. Yeah. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, but it was a great thing. We just gave everything away for free, which is not like the best thing to
do. it can pay dividends sometimes.
It did, because then when we came back the next year to Planet Comic Con, and we went to a couple other Comic Cons, we had the first issue done, and so it brought people back to the table. So right. it was a good deal. So we had what we actually printed up was a teaser and issue number 1. Okay. Before we just sold it as a graphic novel.
I gotcha. Now, are you guys self-publishing this, or did you get published, or?
We actually got picked up. So we spent that year we had issue 1. We decided to try to pitch it to editors at comic book shows and made like a pitch packet and different things just to walk up to their tables and cold pitch to them.
That's nice.
Which was a trip.
Yeah, no, it's creepy. Like it's scary, but it worked.
It worked, and it was funny because probably the second person we pitched it to is the publisher we ended up with. So awesome. Yeah, so it was kind of cool. Yeah, so it's being published by Oni Lionforge. Okay. Yeah, but we self-published the other issues, and that was kind of our plan. Was like we didn't know if we'd ever get picked up. It was kind of like we'll see what happens. But we had planned on just to self-publish them. Yeah, as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a goldfish and an iguana.
An iguana. Yeah, and Captain Bandit. Yeah.
Captain Bandit? Okay.
Yeah, he's a dog. He's the main hero. He's the lead.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
And Flash Tista the turtle is one of my secret favorite, not so secret favorite character.
That was going to be my next question. Is there a favorite?
Yeah, Flash Tista, and she's the pilot, and she has a lot of attitude. So I like to write. For some reason, I really like to write female characters with a lot of attitude, and that's what she's got in spades. So yeah, and there's a tiger named Karma, and a pig named Snuffs, and nice. Eleanor. She's Parakeet. And gosh, I'm probably forgetting somebody as I'm doing it off the cuff. But yeah, it's a good crew.
It sounds like it. So, okay, there's obviously, or it seems obvious to me, a Star Trek influence.
Yes.
All right, so, I mean, obviously you can have influences tonally, storyline-wise, like what other influences are there? Or are there any beyond Star Trek?
Yeah, so, I think that, there's a lot of pop culture influences in it of other sci-fi shows. Because I like ensemble sci-fi shows, okay. Like Firefly and things like that. So there's some nods to Firefly in it for sure. But I think that the heart of the story about Bandit and missing the home that he left to go become a Starbase captain really leans into actually a writer named Kate DiCamillo. She wrote Tale of Despero. She's probably my favorite writer.
Yeah, okay.
And her language is beautiful. She writes stories about hope. And so to me, I tried to really ground his story with the heart of his story, like her stories that are really grounded and centered in love and hope. And so he definitely has that running through his storyline for sure.
Okay.
So that kind of goes in a different direction like that. But yeah, so those are kind of the influences. And Lassie, I know we both love animated stuff, and I know she has a lot to probably say about that and the character development she did on the characters, because she did some posts for a while on our webpage where she would have like explaining how she developed the look of the characters with different images of like different cartoons and animals and things. And also we have like a whole like encyclopedia of world building about all the background of all the characters.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that we did that for a couple of months. So they're all fully like fleshed out.
That's awesome though.
Lives.
That's
So
very
yeah,
cool. Well, and the
yeah,
art is, I mean, I love it's got a cartoon vibe
yeah.
that I really dig. And yeah, I saw on the website, I saw where it was flesh. How do you say the turtle's name?
Like fleshed out, like
No, the turtle's name.
no.
What's
Oh,
Flesh?
Flash Tista. Flash
Tista. I
Tista.
saw
Yeah.
there was like a collage of turtles
Yeah.
and like explaining, what came from this, the sums that
Yeah.
make the whole, the
Yeah.
yeah,
And
like
we try to include real animal. It's not educational in any way, but like
well, sure.
real animal things. Like the reason I picked the turtle to be the pilot is because when I was trying to develop her character, I learned that turtles, like if you pick them up and when they're going in a direction, if you pick them up and move them, they get confused. They don't know where they're going. And so I was like, oh, I want my turtle to know where she's going. Like
That's cool though.
and so there are things like that built into to all the characters. All the animals have some kernels of truth to them about their animal lives. So yeah.
That's awesome though. I like that. I like that. That's a neat touch to, particularly if you know about animals and you're reading it.
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, it seems as though it's YA
Yeah.
esque at least.
Yeah, we wrote it like primarily our goal was because we love this stuff. We wanted to make it all ages. Like
Yeah.
we promoted it as all ages very quickly. And that was kind of the great thing about having the teaser and going to shows and getting feedback from people. We learned really quickly that, oh, all ages is a good idea because everybody kind of wants it and likes
Yeah.
it. And but at our table we had a lot of like our age group for kids was kind of like 7 and up, like 7 to like 12 was kind of like our target age group.
Right.
Not that we tried it that way, but that's who kept coming back to the table, kind of wanting more and like asking lots of questions and stuff like that. So yeah, and then adults who just like cartoons and comics and stuff would come, and space stuff and animals.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you guys did the rocks, right?
Yeah,
Didn't you just your booth to the space rocks? Yeah.
Yeah, we just wanted, like, we were just wanting people to be excited, and because we were excited, I mean, that's why we got uniforms, and like, we just went all out. We did trading cards and uniforms, and we had space rocks, so just little white rocks that I would spend hours gluing googly eyes on just to give away for fun, for free. And what was hilarious was, because we did Planet 3 times, before the pandemic,
Right.
people would come back and update us on what their pet rock was, space rock was doing.
Wow.
Like where it was in their house, and like, get another one to keep it friends.
Fantastic. Wow.
So yeah, we want to do a little side comic all about the space rocks. We had some comic strips about them, but we want to do like a whole like thing about them.
Well, so that begs the question: did you tell all the story you needed to tell with Star Beast with this graphic novel?
No, and when I wrote the graphic novel, in my mind, I love TV shows, so I love episodic kind of things. So I always saw it as like, okay, we're telling Bandit's story this time. If we write another one, we'll tell another character story, like get into kind of pivot, and he'll still be there, but like maybe we'll tell Plastisha's story, or maybe we'll tell Cleo's story or something. So I always envisioned it as that could be a continuing thing. That would be my hope. Yeah.
That would be cool. Do you have, so while Bandit's story is being told in the graphic novel, is there an overarching story, or is it like Star Trek in that, it's episodic, the story is here, but the whole, the main thrust of it is they're on this 5-year mission. That's the story.
I'm viewing it as more of an episodic kind of thing. So okay. Yeah, so I there is a bigger story of like that the Star Beasts have been around for a long time, and it's kind of a developed culture throughout the galaxy of these animals on planets that are protecting the planets. But beyond that, I've seen it more as a character-based thing, and them dealing with an issue each graphic novel, some kind of new adventure.
Right. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, then are there, beyond space rocks, do you guys have any other stokers in the fire, like stories you'd like to tell beyond Star Beast?
Beyond Star Beast, or different, totally different than Star Beast?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I owe you a thanks because
Okay.
you one time, I think we were chatting about writing books or something, and you were like, you recommend Stephen King's on writing, which
Mhm.
people love, and I
Sure.
don't read a lot of Stephen King because I'm a chicken, but I have read some,
Sure.
but I did read on writing, and he made a suggestion in there of like when you finish a project, read it through once and then like set it aside and do something else.
Right.
And so that's what I did with Starbucks. I'd never done that. That's not my MO. My MO is like work that baby, keep rewriting it, like,
Yeah.
stay with it. But I actually did that. I was like, okay, I'm gonna set this aside. I'm gonna jump into it. And I wrote a different graphic novel that I've written twice now. I'm on my second rewrite on, and I've now set it aside and I'm working on something else.
That's see, but that's
So,
like, I don't think there's anything wrong with the work it, stick with it.
yeah,
Like,
no,
this is
yeah.
where I live, unless you've got other stories you want to tell. Then that's the
Yes.
only thing that makes sense to me is do the rough draft, move on, like come back to it, revise. But
Yeah.
so
And so it was
what's
just a whim. It's a whim of an idea about, I love pancakes.
okay?
And it's about a girl who wants to save her grandma's pancake diner. And it's got a little Goonie stuff going on in it, but it has pancake recipes. It's crazy.
That's
And
awesome
so
though.
Lassie's got it right now.
Okay.
I've written,
Okay.
like
So
I said,
yeah, I was
two
gonna ask,
drafts.
is it graphic novel again, or
Yeah,
is this just a novel? But okay.
it's a graphic novel, and she's got it kind of hybrid. For a while I was like, maybe it'll be like illustrated with like more text. I don't know. So we're kind of in that phase of like, what is this?
Right.
We don't know what this is yet. So she's got it and she's gonna read it, and then we're gonna collaborate on it and see where it goes. So yeah.
Goonies, pancakes, and russet. Like, no, that's a cool.
Yeah,
I would
I
buy
love.
that.
Yeah, I love food, so
I mean, can't go wrong with pancakes.
Yeah.
I live in a Waffle House,
Yeah.
not a literal Waffle House, but yeah, my house
Yes.
is yeah, it leans more waffle than I would prefer sometimes. But
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Waffles are good too. Waffles are good too. So that's kind of what Lassie and I. But we're honestly so in like we're so close to the finish line with Starbucks. Like it's all hands on deck.
Right.
Of her brain. Her brain is solidly there right now. So which is great. Which is kind of weird too because I let go of it to let her like do her part. She's doing
Right.
her part, but then she'll be like deep in the weeds and call me and be like, do you really think, Bandit ought to be doing this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, well, let me think about it. I got to get my head back in that space. I'm not there right now. So it's interesting.
Hell no, that's, I mean, I don't know. That's what's cool about collaboration. I think that
Mm-hmm.
getting the ideas that you may not have gotten to on your own. You may have, but
Yes.
you may not have. Like
Right. Right.
I
It's interesting.
well,
For
particularly
sure.
of the comic, that whole other aspect that comes from the visual, like visualizing what you wrote and
Yeah.
then seeing, I don't know. It's a cool
Well,
marriage.
no, I actually, to be honest, like, it's really changed my writing approach. I do write novels too, and I've had trouble getting this one out. And I actually sat down and was like, I think I need to draw and write this at the same time to get it out. It's very weird. Like it's changing. Working on manuscripts in the comic form, where it's like a movie script, is kind of changing how I'm writing other stuff, which is really weird and interesting.
No,
So
I get that actually.
yeah,
Yeah, the how your approach to a scene is, yeah,
changes. Yeah,
gets tweaked. Yeah. Well, okay. So then so you've got other avenues, like
yeah.
are you self-taught cartoonist
No, yes.
or doodler, whatever you want to
I
call,
really
like,
appreciate you asked me. That's nice. I took a comic strip class when I was 9 at the
okay,
art museum,
all
and
right.
that's all the training I've had.
All right. So yeah, so self-taught, and you've got,
Yeah.
so you've Shakespeare Bites is the one I'm most familiar with.
Yes. Yes.
How
Shakespeare.
did that come about?
Well, it had a little bit of a Star Beast birth to it, of that when Lassie and I were working on the issues, and we thought we were going to be kind of issue based for a little bit. She was like, let's put comic strips in the back, and I was like, okay. She was busy drawing, so I was like, okay, I'll write some comic strip gags. And I realized for some reason, really quick, I couldn't type it out like a manuscript. I had to like draw it out to
Okay.
show her what the joke was. It was really weird, and I don't know why. Maybe it was the comic strip class coming back, like.
All right.
But yeah, and so I did that for her, and I just loved doing it so much that I was walking. I get a lot of my ideas walking around the park, and I was walking around the park, and I was like, oh man, I think I should be a comic strip where food is acting out Shakespeare's plays. I just think this is funny to me because I love food, and I used to doodle lots of anthropomorphic food in meetings, just to entertain myself. And so I was like, and I was like, I think I have to do it. I think I need to try to do it. Let's see. And so that I challenged myself and said, if I can draw a piece of pizza sitting at a table looking depressed, I think I can do this. That's
Yeah.
literally what I did. I sat there and tried to draw it.
That's hilarious, though.
That's how
So
got
you
started.
opens with Romeo and Juliet,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Now
I'm telling the story. Juliet.
what food is what character?
Okay. So the Montagues are the mozzarella Gues, and they're all Italian food. Pizza. Romeo has a slice of pepperoni pizza.
Nice.
And then the Capulets are the Conapulets, and they're all ice cream. So you've got the savory and the sweet, the hot and the cold. It's never going to work.
Right.
And so, yeah, that was kind of that was my basis, basically, like snack-sized romance. But I did it, and I was like, when I was coming up with like, okay, well, if Romeo's a piece of pizza, then Mercutio is going to be a bottle of wine, and Benvolio is going to be a ravioli because it's like Benvolio raviolio, And so I
so
sat
awesome.
down and I sat down and drew every character. Like Romeo, I drew the piece of pizza with all these different emotions because I was like, I've got to try to figure out if I can even do this. And so I have like a style guide of all my characters, basically, so I can go back and reference them and see what they look like at different angles and stuff. So yes, that's it. That's what it is, and it's an ongoing web comic where I'm literally telling the story of Romeo and Juliet, but it's a joke. It's a comic strip, and it's a food joke usually every time.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen when we get to the murder and death part.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's gonna be quite challenging and interesting to watch how it pans out. Now, what will you? I mean, you open with a tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
You get to the end of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
You dig it. You're gonna stick with it. What comes next?
Yeah.
What do you do next?
Well, I'm definitely, one of my major influences. Shakespeare's a big deal to me. Like, I love Shakespeare. He's like been my go-to muse since, I don't know, high school. And so Hamlet is a huge thing. It's one of my favorite plays. So I definitely want to do Hamlet.
Wow.
So that's why I was like, that's why I made it Shakespeare Bites, because I was like, oh, I don't want to just make it, Romeo and Juliet, like a play on that, because I was like, I think I should do Hamlet at least.
Yeah.
Too. So,
oh man,
yeah.
I'm dying to know what the ghost will be. Like, what is
I don't know
what
yet.
the king's ghost will be.
We're only in the second course, only in Act 2 of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah,
ways to go.
You've got a while yet. That's true.
And what's funny is I look at the play and I'll look at the play and I'll think, okay, I read like the dialogue for a scene, and I'll be like, okay, I'm looking for something to make a joke out of, even if it's not funny. And sometimes I'll think I'm just going to walk in and find one joke, but sometimes I find like 3. So then that makes like 3 comic strips, which is great, but it's dragging it out.
Yeah. Sure. That's true. Yeah. Because, that's a fun approach though to it. Yeah. Like mining it for like the scenes that, because I mean, obviously you're not going to do shot for shot or scene for scene, but yeah, you've made it last because you started. When did it start?
It's 2 years now. I've been doing it for 2 years.
Yeah.
And I had a goal. I did 2 comics a month was kind of what my goal was, because I draw them out on paper. It's actually because I'm like a learner, because I'm a learner.
Sure.
I draw it out in pencil on paper in a sketchbook first, just like rough, like layout, and just see if I can what it is, shake it out. And then I redraw it again on nicer paper.
Right.
And ink it, and then hand color it, and then I take a photo of it on the fridge, because on Instagram I think of them as like fridge funnies.
Yeah.
And I put them on the fridge and film them with music, make a little go scene by scene with music and scan it. So it's very I don't know, very manual. I guess.
That's
Not
true.
fancy. It's not fancy.
No, but no, it's endearing. The video of it. Like, yeah. Would you ever, I mean, is it always gonna live, the whole design is for the web, or would you ever collect it?
I think my goal in the end is to collect it and self-publish it. That's my goal at the end.
Right.
So yeah, I scan them all and keep it. And I've made, actually, before Planet got canceled in 2020, I had a little collection
Oh, really?
of them. I had printed up, yeah, that I was
Okay.
gonna either give out or sell for like $1 or something, just for
Right.
fun.
Yeah, no.
And but they're all sitting in my closet now.
Well, I mean, the cons will come back eventually.
Yes.
We live in hope. I
Yeah,
miss them. I mean,
I do
my
too.
stuff, I need to be like one-on-one. I sell much better. Like, if I can explain to you what you're in for, I can at least make you intrigued enough, if you're a reader, to give my stuff a shot.
Yeah.
Online, I've found I am not as compelling of a salesman.
It's hard. I mean, there's a lot to be said for like Comic Cons are hard, and Comic Cons are also wonderful. And like, I'm an introvert, and so, but being behind the table really helps me come alive. And
Just that
I
little
really
bit of
love
buffer.
it. Yeah, a little bit of buffer. At least in the Star Beast world, we're wearing our uniforms and we're like in it.
Yeah.
And so, but it does make a big difference. Selling in person is a big deal. Yeah, I agree.
I am envious when the shows that we've done together, and I see like having a partner there must
Yeah.
make it so much, not necessarily, because I'm not an introvert. I don't know what that's like, but I just to while away the time in between people coming by, like just where you're
Yeah.
not sitting there.
Yeah,
You know,
we play a lot of cosplay bingo. So that I was actually thinking like that's
nice.
something I almost miss the most about Comic Cons is Lassie and I playing cosplay bingo.
That's true.
So
Oh man, some of those outfits are just amazing.
yeah, they are. They are.
So how do you play? How does bingo work? You just like,
Oh, so what you do is super easy. You just take a piece of paper, make your grid. However,
okay,
we agree on the number of
okay,
squares, and then separately we write down the cosplay we want to see, and then we
okay,
also throw in some gimmies that are just gonna be there.
right,
So there's gonna be a transformer, or there's gonna be whatever. So you just kind of throw
right.
it. We always have hobbits,
Yeah, sure.
just because we want to see hobbits, both of us. So we do that, and we've done it at every show we've been at, and it is so much fun. Yeah,
That would be. I
great.
may have to. Well, but that's the thing. I'll have to jump in on your guys's and just
Yes,
like,
well,
here's
yes,
another
yeah,
one, because
Kyle.
otherwise I'm just sitting there coming up with
We'll,
stuff by myself.
we will give you a grid, but we'll make it for you, so you'll have to be.
Okay, that's fair.
We've done that before.
Well, I'm winding down here. So where can everybody find you and all this awesome
Yeah.
stuff we've been talking about?
Yeah, Star Beast Comic has a Facebook page and an Instagram account and a website. Everything's kind of in like waiting mode, but the book will be out this summer in June, and so we will definitely start pushing a lot more things this spring.
Right.
So you'll be able to know where to get it and find it and learn more about us. And then Shakespeare Bites Comic has an Instagram and a Facebook page and a website. So all
As a
at Shakespeare
website,
Bites.
okay.
Yeah.
I
So yeah,
will. I'll put all the info down below
cool.
so everybody can find you. Hopefully, we can get Allison on closer to
Yeah.
June, and so
Yes.
we can further spread the word of Star Beasts and
Yeah.
get people
I
to
can't
check
wait.
it out.
Be great.
But in the meantime, thanks for having a drink with me.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
And that wraps up our visit. Remember, if you'd like to hang out and meet for a drink, just reach out. We'll put something on the books. In the meantime, like, share, subscribe, do all the things, all down below. Till next time.